Here's Lars Ling again. Let's talk about business model innovation. Regardless of what role you're playing, whether it's an EXO coach or EXO consultant or some other role, working with your clients to transform their organizations, the business model will come up. And usually, traditionally, it's been very complicated to discuss business models of any type of organization. Actually, when we go back a couple of decades, it could take hundreds of pages to describe a particular business model. When you meet your client, you will quickly realize they all have their individual ways of explaining their business model, and they also probably have their own understanding of what business model really means. Fortunately, around 2008, Alex Osterwalder, as the lead author of the book Business Model Generation, gave us a simplified and unified language to design, discuss, and iterate on business models. It's part of the lean startup methodologies that got further evolved by Steve Blank and others that contributed with additional books to the Lean Startup series. The business model canvas came from the book Business Model Generation and allowed us in a one-pager, a visual one-pager, to describe the 9 components that are very important to any business model to create, capture, and deliver value. Once we are discussing what value we intend to create and capture and deliver, we can describe it, we can discuss it, we can improve it together. Your client are able to work with you to improve their business model when they can explain their business model in simple terms and ideally in a one-pager. If your client is not using such a tool, you can propose to them to work, for example, with the business model canvas to describe the current business model of their organization. I'm going to briefly talk you through the business model canvas as basic introduction, even though you very likely know something about it. And I'm going to do it on a case study that you would very likely know a lot about. So let's dive into it. Here's our canvas with the 9 building blocks. Most people prefer to work on paper with the canvas. That's great. Print this out in as large paper size as you can and make sure to have plenty of sticky notes, ideally in different colors. You always begin on the right hand side, at least that's my recommendation, the customer segments. I also recommend just work with one customer segment on one piece of canvas. But if you choose to describe several customer segments, use different color coding. That allows you to connect and track the different sticky notes throughout the canvas to the right customer segment. In this example, we'll just work with a franchisee as our customer segment. And now we'll add in 7-Eleven's own value propositions for this customer segment as they have described in different video material. One of them is the turnkey business that you get access to by registering as a franchisee. You get relatively quick startup time, you get access to a technology platform from 7-Eleven, big buying power, and unique 7-Eleven products that you have access to selling with increased margins as a promised outcome. So these are 5 of the main value propositions that would be important to describe in this one-pager when it comes to franchisees. Let's have a quick look at the rest of the canvas. Between customer segments and value propositions, you have customer relations And this is about the type of customer relationship that the customers are telling you they want to have with you. You will also find the channels, which are the channels you are going to need and use to deliver your value proposition to your customer segment. On the left-hand side, you have your key partners, typically suppliers, technology partners, and others that are instrumental to actually make your business model work. Same with your key activities and key resources. These are all required to actually make it possible to deliver your value proposition to your defined customer segment. In the lower part of the canvas, you describe your revenue streams, 7-Eleven's revenue streams, and the cost side on the left hand. Fill in all the blanks on your own. I did some of the revenue streams here, for example, the franchise fee, inventory and product sales, and it's up to you to play with the rest of the canvas. Now we'll have a look at how can we apply exponential attributes on an existing business model like we are seeing here. I'm choosing to challenge the 3 to 6 month startup time that 7-Eleven is promising you if you register as a franchisee. So which attributes could be interesting to consider to take this startup time down by 10x or more? So I'm suggesting, for example, community and crowd. Could you play with 7-Eleven to find out how a community and crowd could help you to shorten the startup time by a factor 10 or more? How can that interfaces to your community and dashboards help in that process? And obviously, experimentation is going to be important to learn whether the shortening of the startup time works or not, and whether it's a sustainable model that you're proposing back to your client. Obviously, always check up against your MTP. May be aligned and be supporting your MTP every time you suggest a new initiative based on the exponential attributes. Let's have another quick look, another quick example where we are challenging the technology platform as offered by 7-Eleven. Let's look at the attributes that could be relevant to consider here. I'm suggesting obviously the algorithm attribute. Wouldn't it be possible to deliver 10x better, faster algorithms that can optimize any outcome from your business? Consider autonomy. Can you work more autonomously and improve your business performance by a factor 10x in that way? And how about the social technologies attribute? How could that help you to stay connected and engaged with your community around you? Make sure to go over the cost side. Obviously, finding a 10x improvement on the cost side will have your client's interest. Look at leveraged assets, for example, which would be of great interest if you have a heavy real estate base to maintain, like 7-Eleven has. Good luck on applying exponential attributes on a linear business model.